If you're starting an AI agency in 2025 and you want to get ahead of 99% business owners in 2026, in this video, I'm going to go over the exact process and how you can separate yourself from the competition and actually build an AI agency that generates you more than $10,000 per month in the next 90 days without trading your time for money. So let's take a look on what realistically happens whenever you trade an online business. Maybe you've tried other online businesses before, drop shipping, SMMA, high ticket sales, but you always had the same kind of results. Maybe you tried it for a couple months, 30 days, 60 days, spent a couple money, maybe bought a couple courses, and you didn't really get anywhere. But let's take a look at actually what happens, right? And here, we're gonna come close to 2026 in the beginning of the year, and everyone says the same thing, right? New year, new me, I'm gonna start a new program, and this is the year where I escape the matrix and I'm in 9 to 5. But let's take a look at what actually happens, right? What's really gonna differentiate you for the rest of the competition, right? And what do we need to do instead to get ahead of 99% of business owners, right? I wouldn't even categorize 99% of people as business owners. Take a look, right? Out of 100 people that start, half of them quit after the first month, right? Maybe they watch a couple of YouTube videos. Maybe they, join a couple of school communities, walk communities, do a free course. Maybe they played around with some automations like Go High Level N8N or Make, but they don't see any significant progress. And after the first month, within 30 days, they become demoralized and they stop. But why? Because if you start something, you don't see significant traction within 30 days, you feel like, most people we have what's called the Amazon effect. People feel like they can get things instantaneously, right? People are looking for instant gratitude. They want to try something, have the initial dopamine, be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make money, right? But realistically, if you don't put enough work in the 30 days within any online business or even a job, you're not going to get money, right? This isn't a 9 to 5 and you get paid bi-weekly, right? If you don't put in significant work, you're not going to see any progress. And for 50% of business owners who are trying anything, especially AI, running an AI agency where you have to sell automations and know how to build the automations to sell, 50% of people quit, right? It's like when you start out, you have this incredible sense of morale, like, hey, this is great. This is really cool business model. Everyone's making money from it. I'm going to do super well, right? But that couldn't be further from the truth. Is if you don't see significant progress in 30 days, half of people quit, right? So 15 people quit after the first month. They have what's called analysis paralysis, and they realize there's actually more to it, right? And here, you're probably, now people here fall into 3 categories on what they do next, right? Some people, 20 people, they'll go watch free content, right? They go feel like I need more information to act, right? I need to watch more tutorials and build more things to make money. I'm going to use a lot of templates and not actually apply or do any sales or convince anyone to build automation. I'm just going to build them for fun, use templates online, and binge a lot of free content, right? More information, more free software, more analysis paralysis. That's not going to put you anywhere close to progress, right? And other people, they start doing outreach, right? So I go to mad people, well, no, like I need to start talking to people to pitch my services, right? So people start out with doing cold outreach, but what's going to happen is with cold outreach is nowadays, like cold email is so saturated. I have a friend who runs a cold email agency. It takes them 3,000 emails to book one show and call. So if you're not spending at least 10, 15,000 emails per day, and have the cold email infrastructure to do that, or you're not cold calling consistently, doing a large volume of outreach, you're not going to sign any clients. So you're going to spend a lot of time and energy, not get any progress, boom, you're demoralized, and then you quit, right? So 20 people watch free content, 20 people do cold outreach, completely unscalable in the beginning, unless you're just insanely talented. But anyone that's insanely talented knows, starting a business, you need to trade money to gain back more time. If you trade time for money, you're going to be stuck in a 9 to 5. You're going to be working on an agency like a glorified freelancer, right? You probably work in a 9 to 5, you have a full-time job, and most people are used to trading time for money. But when you're starting an AI agency, you need to start thinking like a business owner. You can't continue using the same way of thinking into a new business. Your way of thinking has only gotten you so far, and now in order to scale business, you need to start trading money for time. You need to have more leverage in the things that you do. So people who actually realize this, 10 people will actually run paid ads and focus on sales. They know that in order to scale business, I need to have sales. I need to sign on clients, and then I'll build the automations to fit their business, right? I need people to say yes, to agree that they want to work with me before I progress any further. So when you look at it this way, only 10% of people know actually what to. Well, everyone has the same amount of knowledge and free information nowadays. But few will take action and overcome the way of thinking that, hey, I need to trade money for time, and be able to take action on it. Most people are paralyzed by fear. 90% of people won't take action, are paralyzed by fear, and won't overcome that way of thinking. So if you made it this far, and you're this 10% of people who are actually willing to take action and invest in themselves, this is what you need to do, right? And if you're interested in working with us, for us to eliminate all the guesswork for you, for us to exactly develop the framework for paid ads to book 5 to 10 calls onto your calendar every single day, and help you build out the work AI automations that you need to sell to businesses and make $10,000 in the next 90 days, book a call with us at AI Sales Academy, and then we're going to see if we're a good fit to work together. But likewise, if you're in the top 10%, keep listening, because this is what happens, right? You want to do it yourself, 100% can. That's you can figure it out, right? As long as you're someone who would problem solve. But key thing is you have to have grit, right? You need to see positive feedback from the things that you're doing to know that it works. So 5 people will continue to run paid ads. 5 people will run paid ads, but after a couple of days, they'll spend a couple $100, and their risk aversion only allows them to spend a couple $100 before they panic and they say, I don't want to waste any more money, and they quit. Right. So half the people that you're dealing with, they spend money and then they quit because they panicked. They see money leaving their bank account and they panic and cry. Right. 5 people who actually continue, right? The 5% who actually have this grit and say, hey, I want to figure this out because I genuinely want to create an AI business. Here's what actually happens. 2 people will develop the sales skills that it takes. 3 people will struggle with sales. They'll figure out the media buying. They'll actually talk to people and they'll figure out the media buying, because it's not actually that hard, right? If you have a good offer, you know how to media buy, you follow the frameworks that we understand in paid ads marketing, you're going to be able to talk to clients, right? And hopefully you're doing this in a combination with other outreach methods. But the key thing is, aside from just jumping on sales calls, that's just half the battle. The other half is actually being able to communicate with these business owners to actually sell your offer. So 3 people will struggle with the sales, and they're going to move on very slowly. Maybe they won't quit yet, but they're going to sign on free clients, and maybe they'll charge very low than they need to, and they'll only sign on less than $1,000 per client, or sign on a bunch of 3 clients to try to win their validation to continue. But what actually is happening here is that they don't have the sales skills to actually sign on clients to pay $5,000 to $10,000 up front. So it's not actually that you can't build good automations. You don't have the skills to actually sell and convince these people that you're the person who's going to take them to the next level, right? So these people actually, by not having the skills, you're going to waste more time in signing on free clients than you would in actually developing the skills. Because if you develop the skills, what are you going to have? You're going to have higher commitment clients. Because high commitment clients who are willing to pay $5 to $10 per month, those are the perfect clients. Because they're actually able to take the risk and have the commitment and actually have the patience to work with you. Whereas, what's the kind of mindset of people that want something for free, right? Or they don't want to pay much. Well, they have a very low commitment, and they're not going to have the patience to work with you. And then when you're a beginner, this becomes a whole cycle of doom where as you're working on something, your morale becomes lower and lower because you're not seeing progress, right? And that's what you're going to get from signing on free clients and people who aren't willing to pay much for your product, right? But if you develop the right sales skills and you continue to talk to prospects and you can really develop your workflows, that's where you do become the top 1% of agency owners, top 1 or 2%. And so at the end of the day, you're actually competing just with one other person to build and start an AI agency. And so if you made it this far, great. If you want us to remove the guesswork and not have to worry about the same things that the other 99% of people do, Apply to AI Sales Academy today, and we're going to see if you're a good fit.